Hey guys, Dr. Ben here, FA Well Centers. Welcome. We're going to talk about everybody's favorite topic, digestion, pooping, all the fun stuff that has to do with moving things through our body and absorbing those nutrients and getting rid of the waste products. So here we go. Let's get into this. I want you guys to pop down below. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to give you a shout out and how your digestion is doing day in and day out. What is your digestion doing? Is it working well? Is it working too much, too little? I'm going to tell you in this video what proper digestion looks like, where the improper digestion could be coming from, and then in the last half, I will be giving you tips and tools to start using right now, today, to help your digestion and really get your life back. Because if digestion is off, if you're not absorbing, if you're not utilizing your nutrients, if you are going too much, too little, those all throw off almost every system in your body. So welcome again, everybody. Great having you on, and put down below, let me know if you've got digestion issues. If you do not have perfect, beautiful, amazing digestion, let me know. So here we go. Digestion is the process of eating food, absorbing nutrients, and anything that's left over, we're going to excrete as a waste product. So that's the whole point of digestion there, is to utilize nutrients, build muscles, nourish our brain, keep our glucose levels level, build up ATP, energy production, all of these things. But here's what happens is that when that digestion gets off track, it can throw off almost every system in the body. And also, every system being out of balance can throw off that digestive tract as well. So let's start with the basics of what proper good digestion looks like. And again, welcome anybody new popping on. Go and put down below where you guys are watching from. I'd love to give you a shout out there. So proper digestion is going to be when you're hungry, you eat. So you're hungry and you're like, you know what, I'm going to eat. And so I eat a salad, eat some yogurt, go to McDonald's and grab a Big Mac. Whatever you're doing, you go through that process of eating. And then it goes into the mouth, you chew it, and your body kicks out saliva. That saliva especially is breaking down carbohydrates. So if you, here's a great trick if you've got kids, don't go eat Wonder Bread very often, but if you take a piece of Wonder Bread, especially if you run them a bunch and get them kind of cotton mouth a little bit, run them around a little bit and give them a piece of bread and say, I'll give you $100 if you can eat that one piece of bread in 60 seconds, especially at the end of a soccer practice or something like that. And they'll do one of two things. They'll just stuff it in their mouth, and it'll just, the bread absorbs all that saliva, starts breaking that down. Or they'll take it piece by piece, but either way, they can't eat it in that amount of time. So in the mouth, we're breaking down a lot of carbohydrates. And if you took that Wonder Bread, sucked on it for a while, you could actually start tasting a little sweetness because you're starting to break down those carbohydrates into those glucose molecules. So it goes from the mouth and that part of the chewing process into the esophagus. That's the tube that runs down through here and ultimately attaches at the stomach right under the diaphragm. So for those of you getting reflux, that's the valve that isn't closing like it's supposed to and allowing stomach acid, food coming back up into that esophagus. So it moves through there, pretty simple process of just a little contraction, and then we've got gravity moving through there. It gets into the stomach. The stomach is where a lot of protein breakdown is taking place. The stomach has acid, and we need a greater stomach acid to break down proteins, calcium, and iron. So write that down. Protein, calcium, and iron. If you're taking antacids, if you're taking proton pump inhibitors, any of these things, you are not going to be breaking down and absorbing those specific nutrients. So let's fix it as opposed to just taking the pills. So then in the stomach, we've got a little bit of this grinding. It's this really acidic environment. 7 is a neutral pH. This is way down at like 2, 2.5, 3, really, really acidic in there. So we've got this acidity breaks down a bunch of the food in that stomach, especially proteins with that digestive juices. Then it moves into the small intestine. And in that small intestine, a couple things are going to happen. The pancreas is going to secrete enzymes into that small intestine, and then the liver kicks out bile. It's stored in the gallbladder. That gallbladder squeezes it out anytime we get a big fat meal. That gallbladder is going to squeeze out that bile into the small intestine, and so we've got a lot more digestion process going on in the small intestine. The small intestine is this long and thin. They call it small because it's thin. The large intestine is bigger diameter but shorter. So the large intestine only goes up, over, and down, where the small intestine goes almost 20 feet in length, but thinner. That small intestine has a lot of surface area, nooks and crannies to absorb. Small intestine is all about absorbing nutrients. Yes, we're breaking down some fats, we're breaking down some more food with the enzymes, but absolutely the small intestine is about absorption. From there, it gets into the large intestine, and in the large intestine, that's where we're going to absorb water. So out of the fecal matter that's starting to form, we're taking water out, and that's where it gets a little bit harder through there versus the small intestine is kind of like this liquidy, soupy kind of a material. And then in the large intestine, we're pulling out water, but the large intestine also helps produce some fat-soluble vitamins. It's going to do a lot of good work on even our microbiome is in that large intestine, a lot of that. So once we get through that small intestine, it goes into the large intestine, and then we go into the rectum, and then we excrete that out. All the way through this digestive tract, we get squeezed. So there's this, it's basically, we're not having to think about it, right? Kind of like your breathing, your heart rate, all those things. We're not thinking about that squeezing muscle contraction. It's an autonomic thing. It's automatic. It just does it on its own. And that's the beautiful thing about the digestive tract, if it's working properly. So that's how the digestion and how food and everything moves through the digestive tract. So what is optimal digestion? This is what it looks like. It's going to be you're hungry, you chew your food 30 times per bite, you let your saliva and your juices really get in there, you swallow it down and it goes down easily. You don't need a big old gulp of water or iced tea or anything to get the food down. It just goes down easily because you've chewed it up enough and got it mushy enough and soft enough and moist enough that it just goes down. It goes into the stomach, it starts digesting. You don't feel any gas, bloating up through here. Your stomach's not sticking out. You're not getting any reflux, indigestion. It just sits there and breaks down, and you don't even think about it. And then it goes into the through the small intestine, and that gallbladder squeezes out some bile, and you don't have pain up under the rib cage, and your gallbladder doesn't hurt, and you don't feel yucky when you eat a fatty food. You feel good, and you're like, man, I'm really utilizing these nutrients. And then it gets out of the small intestine, and it just moves things through. It doesn't sit there. It doesn't feel yucky or full, or anything like that. Or like some people even explain it like towels going through the digestive tract. Hey, Jerry. Great to see you. Good. We'll see you in a minute here coming into the parking lot. And then in that large intestine, that's where we get a lot of the flatulence, the gas, that lower bowel bloating where it just feels like full and heavy, and it's just sitting there, and it starts to ferment and putrefy, and then you start getting gas coming out the other end. Those are all not optimal ways to digest. Optimal digestion is you chew, you swallow, It goes through the digestive tract. When you have to go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom, but otherwise you don't think about it. And you're going 1 to 3 times a day. And it looks similar to a peeled banana, almost the same consistency and that size or bigger. You're not having little rabbit pellets. You're not having loose or explosive or anything like that. 1 to 3 bowel movements per day. And if you're not going every day, that is not normal either. That is optimal digestion. So where does digestion get out of balance? What are some things that we can be doing that are throwing it off, and things that you can do to get better with that digestion? So here we go. If you are not chewing 30 times per bite, so you take a bite. Last night we had spaghetti squash and some Italian sausage and some other veggies and things with that. And so take a bite and chew, chew, chew. And what are my kids going to say? Dad, you take so long, or why are you chewing so much? I can hear you chewing, whatever. And we have to chew. We have to break that down and get that food. It's called mastication. We've got to get it broken down. And then you want to make sure that you're not drinking fluids with your meals. If you're needing to drink to get food down your throat, you're probably not chewing enough, or you're taking too big of bites. So take smaller bites, chew enough, and you will get that down. For one thing, if you're trying to lose weight, if you chew that long, you are going to hit the reset button sooner, where your body's like, I feel good. I don't need to eat anymore. And so if you slow it down, you're going to hit that button sooner, and you're going to actually consume less calories day in and day out when you're chewing like that. So we get into that drinking with fluids, and you don't want to dilute the stomach acid. So get rid of the fluids with the meals. If you need a little sip here and there, that's fine, but 2, 3, 4 ounces at the most. Otherwise, do not dilute that stomach acid. And you want to eat in a relaxed environment. If you're up and running around, taking care of the kids, you're answering emails, whatever it is, that is too revved up. You are not going to be digesting as well as you should that way. So you need to eat in a relaxed environment, and then let your body and your mind shut down and just look up at the clouds or relax or whatever you can do, because you can do one of two things. You can fight or flight, or you can rest and digest, but you cannot do both at the same time. So you've got to go through that process of really relaxing your autonomic nervous system and getting into that resting and digesting. And for those of you that are not going on a daily basis, you may need some more fiber. Make sure you're getting enough vegetables. Make sure you're getting enough fruit that does not spike your blood sugar. If that is not enough, then you may need to look into some psyllium husk, into some chia seeds, into some other fiber-containing nutrients that are going to help push. And fiber basically bulks up and pushes that bowel through the digestive tract, that bowel movement going through there. So if you need extra fiber, you can do that as well. For those of you that have been constipated for a long time, hey Angela, good to see you. Yes, share that with your kids today. This is huge. Hey Patricia, good to see you as well. So as far as going, if you haven't gone regularly for years, you may need some external support. Magnesium citrate is a great place to go with that. So you take that magnesium citrate, you work it up to that point where you're having a good bowel movement. So if at 4 you're like, hey, I actually had a good bowel movement today, or a little bit too much, then you drop it down to 3 and you stay with that. You can take it before bed because it's also calming. So do that good work as well. So we have to be going every day. If you need to do abdominal massage, is great. You have a massage gun at home, and you can put that on your abdomen and work through that large intestine, make sure it's squeezing things through. Another thing, if you're not going every day like you need to, is increase your water, not with your foods, not with your meals, but separate. And a lot of times it's that you just don't have enough fluid to move that through. So one of the old naturopathic tricks is, if you are constipated, drink 8 ounces of water every 10 minutes until you have a bowel movement, and you will go eventually. It'll start moving things through. These are some really simple tips, some things that you can start doing to improve your digestion, but you've got to see which part of that digestive tract is off. And if you know that food's sitting in the stomach, you might need some more stomach acid support. If you know that you're seeing undigested food coming through that digestive tract, you may need some digestive enzymes. If you know that you're fermenting and like it's just sitting there and you've got foul smelling gas, things like that, you may need some kill off, and the oil of oregano is a great place to start. Hey, Renee there in South Africa, good to see you. How's your digestion been? So you've got to know which of these systems is out of balance, and you can see that by looking at symptoms and then making some changes through there. So use these tips. If you need more support than that, just like everybody that comes into the office, and just like Jerry when she's coming in to see Dr. Jake in the Fort Collins office, we have offices in Colorado. I was just down at the Denver office yesterday, Nashville. I was down there last week, and we're able to see patients remotely all over the country, in the United States, and even around the world. So if you need help or a loved one needs help, anything in the health world that they're just not getting the answers they need to, click any one of those buttons that we put up there. We also have Instagram, TikTok, a lot of different channels with other platforms and different information. So find us on all of those, like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, over 700 videos on there. If you need help, if you need support, let me know, and we would love to go through and really just show you exactly what you need to do. But for today, work on that digestion, rest, digest, give your body the best chance to move things and absorb things as you can. All right, love seeing you guys. Take care. Make it a great day.